Breakups with avoidance are not normal breakups. They can be so much harder to get over than an average breakup. In fact, many people find that a breakup with an avoidant, even a short-term relationship, is much more painful and so much harder to get over than the breakup from a long-term relationship or even a marriage. There are reasons for this. First and foremost, in most of these cases, you felt like you had a connection, a chemistry with this person that was out of this world. You felt seen, heard, and wanted like never before. You felt like you finally got it right, like you met your twin flame. You felt like this person really saw you and wanted you and was choosing you. But then, suddenly, it's over. It's over as quickly as it began. You're getting little to no explanation as to why the relationship has to end. This person is cold. They are shut down. The person that you fell in love with is not there. It's like they're an entirely different person, a person with stone cold eyes, lacking empathy, and not even giving you the courtesy to give you closure. So why is it so hard to get over an avoidant? Well, that chemistry and that connection is a big part of it. Another part of it is the lack of closure. In most endings of a relationship, there's an explanation given. One or both partners expressed dissatisfaction in the relationship, and there was arguing and fighting and things that generally indicated that the relationship was going in the wrong direction. With the avoidant, especially a dismissive avoidant or a fearful avoidant leaning dismissive, the relationship felt wonderful. It felt like you were on cloud nine. You were still in an extended honeymoon phase. And then the rug gets ripped from under your feet when you least expect it. People do not expect breakups during the honeymoon phase. And that is completely traumatic. It's blindsiding. It throws you for a loop. You get to the point where you don't even know what direction is up or down because you no longer trust your instincts. You thought you were safe and secure with this person. And now it's over, it's abrupt, and you're not getting any explanation, not a coherent one, as to why the relationship needed to end. The human mind likes answers. It likes certainty. It likes to know where you stand, even if that's an answer that you don't like. If you get an answer, at least you have clarity. At least you know what direction to go. Are you getting back together, or are you healing and moving on? The avoidant often leaves the door kind of open without really any certainty that they're just not ready for a relationship right now and they need to work on themselves, but maybe there's a chance of getting back together. Keeping you as an option, keeping you in limbo, sending you breadcrumbs. It is absolutely anxiety producing. Also, the hot and cold behavior from the avoidant sometimes can be subtly noticed by your subconscious mind early in dating when you don't even consciously recognize it. And that hot and cold behavior, that emotional unavailability, has an addictive quality to it. It's scientifically proven that inconsistent reinforcement is more addictive than consistent reinforcement, meaning a person that gives you love and affection but only intermittently is actually more addictive than a person that gives you consistent love and affection. It's not a healthy addiction, but it's an addiction nonetheless, because when they're coming towards you and they're being loving, it feels so good that you're willing to chase when they pull away and hold no boundaries because you're so desperate to get that love and affection back. And generally, people don't even realize that they are, in fact, becoming more and more anxious when they're in the relationship with the avoidant due to these tiny little pullaways that sometimes you don't even recognize. And sometimes it's overt. They disappear for a couple days, come back with excuses, but because you care about this person so much and you want them so much, you don't hold a boundary, you don't tell them that that doesn't work for you, and you allow the behavior to continue, subconsciously recognizing that this person is insecure and fragile and walking on eggshells to prevent them from leaving the relationship, holding no boundaries in the hope that that keeps them in. So you're investing your all into this person. You are giving them your everything, and then suddenly it's over. You had all this time and emotional energy put into them, and then boom, it's gone. And that connection, that chemistry early on, it doesn't come across like narcissistic love bombing, but it is quite intense because this is a person who's spent a lifetime suppressing and bottling up emotions. And that dopamine is flowing early on, and they're letting all all those bottled up emotions flow out onto you. And it feels great. And you're not even recognizing that they're often moving the relationship along at an unhealthy pace, a whirlwind romance that feels so good. But they are people pleasers at their core. They do need external validation to feel better about themselves. So really pushing it along gives them that external validation they crave. But as the honeymoon phase or the extended honeymoon phase winds down, that dopamine level comes down and the avoidance inner anxieties come to the surface. So it's inevitable that something will trigger them, and it's usually something that indicates that it's a real relationship, not just a fantasy. It could be the talk of serious commitment, it could be disagreements, expectations that you have, or just emotional closeness that's building. But healthy, normal relationship behaviors are triggering to them. If you hold boundaries, that can be triggering too. It's important to do so, but recognize that this is an insecure person that's emotionally unavailable. So your limits, your boundaries, your needs, your feelings are really not something that generally works for them, because due to those insecurities and due to the fact that they weren't shown how to process emotions, that they had to figure it out on their own, they become wholly self-focused, and they're really only able to consider what they feel that they need, feel, or fear in the moment. So you're left without answers, you're left without empathy, you're left without closure. It is very hard to get over that kind of breakup. But healing is possible. First, it's important to pump the brakes on rumination. Rumination is when you're going down memory lane, replaying the relationship over and over in your mind, replaying all the good times especially. Your brain will do a cruel trick on you when you ruminate. It'll actually release a small hit of dopamine every time you go down memory lane. It's not enough dopamine to make you feel good, but it is enough dopamine to keep you psychologically addicted to the memories. So pump those brakes and then actively have a list of 10, 20 different ways that they hurt you, and remind yourself of that, because that will bring them down off of that subconscious pedestal, and it'll help you heal, detach, and move on. Also, focus on understanding what avoidant attachment is and why they behave this way. It all stems from consistent childhood emotional neglect, and that's not your fault. When you both intellectually and emotionally understand why they behave the way they do, you stop blaming yourself and you stop tying your worth into their approval or rejection. And that does help you heal and move on. It takes time. It takes concerted effort. It takes making sure that you're doing things that take care of yourself. Go work out, focus on your career, learn new hobbies, learn a new language, but do things that are good for you. You do that coupled with stopping the rumination and focusing on understanding, and you will heal and move on. And now that you've had the avoidant experience, you can learn to recognize red flags that you are dealing with an emotionally unavailable partner, and avoid the avoidance in the future. Because once you truly understand attachment, you can't unsee it. When you see those dismissive avoidant red flags, when you see those fearful avoidant red flags, you're going to recognize them. But it's going to be important to hold boundaries, because if you don't, you're setting yourself up to go through it all over again.